this is still a good roster. They just had injuries and a major issue at quarterback last year, and I think they're going to have an opportunity to turn things around. So when I look at what they really have to do in the draft to be a better team, defensively, I'm gonna stay up front. They need another compliment to Myles Garrett because it's just Myles Garrett, Myles Garrett, Myles Garrett. You got to get somebody else. It can't just be Myles Garrett. And Okoronkwo was a nice pickup, but I don't think that's enough. And they could also use, without question, some answers in the middle. But I don't know if they feel. I love the move to get Tomlinson, but I don't. But I think what's going to depend on is Perion Winfrey.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody loved what happened to Winfrey last year and late in the in the All-Star games and all that stuff. He was this guy looks like he could be special. Didn't have a good rookie season, but if he could be the guy and make a big step this year, they're set with Tomlinson and Winfrey. But if he's not, then that's why I say that they might want to think about that. Maybe not in the draft. Maybe you just go with it one more season. But I would say the number one need, if we're talking about them on defense up front, would be adding another pass rusher to Myles Garrett in that defense.
Yeah, and because of all the reasons you just said, the players you just talked about, they really can go into the draft saying, let's just get someone with their hand in the dirt. It could be an end, it could be a tackle. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one of those spots because Myles Garrett, it's just a top-heavy group, and God forbid he ever gets hurt. I mean, then you have absolutely nothing on that team that's going to make a difference. And, I think that you just got to keep pumping resources into that line and hope that you hit on one of them. I don't think we've seen the best of Winfrey yet. Tristan Hill has flashed over the course of his career. He's a journeyman now. So he's, he doesn't even have a secure spot on this team in terms of making the final roster, but he has flashed in the past. So hopefully they get an answer, but I think no matter what, you just got to add at least one piece to that defensive line unit, inside or outside.
And let's keep in mind, no pick until the 3rd. They don't have a first-round pick next year, so they're going to have to do some. But at least the roster has already been put together for the most part.
Yeah.
Which is the reason they made the move, because they felt they could do that. So they didn't just go, all right, we're going to make the move for Watson and hope everything else kind of falls into place. No, this group has done a really good job putting together a pretty nice roster. Also on defense, I think the secondary is in pretty good shape. I don't think that's something to worry about much. They added Thornhill, so that was nice. You really like what they did the last couple of drafts, adding Emerson Jr. and Newsome. But offensively, the running back position, how much do they believe in Jerome Ford as the true number 2 to Nick Chubb? I don't know. I mean, maybe they do. It's not like they do anything much past for, number 2. So what do you think? Do you think they're going to look for a number 2 and keep Ford as a co-2-3, or do you think they're just going to go in with Chubb and Ford?
No, I think they're going to add a piece to the backfield. I mean, Ford got 8 carries last year, right? John Kelly's had 5 carries since the start of 2019. A lot of this is just simply unknown. And this is a team that is still going to be reliant on the running game, as long as Nick Chubb is there. And you got to have plan B because this team is ready to win now. That's what they're going for right now. And if you can't be overly reliant on one guy, if Chubb does go down, you need someone to be able to step in. And like I've already said, this running back group has plenty of guys that can come in and be an every down back. So I think running back is definitely on the list. I think the offensive line is what worries me the most.
Really? The offensive line. And this is supposed to be a strength.
And it's one spot. It's left tackle.
I was going to say that. It's like, wait a second. But he's the sexy guy. He's the first-round draft pick. How could he be the problem?
Not only is he the first-round draft pick, he's the first-round draft pick that played well as a rookie. And I think sometimes a lot of fans that don't pay attention to the team closely just remember that. But that's 3 years ago, right? And we're talking about a guy that allowed 41 pressures last year, and he was bottom 5 in the NFL in pressure rate, meaning the amount of pressures per pass rush protection snaps. And I don't like the depth either. I don't like the guys that are behind them if injuries start to pop up a little bit.
True.
So tackle is a sneaky group because his contract is not up. I think they still have another year or 2 on him. But there are going to be vacancies on that offensive line within the next year or 2. And if you want to move Wills around, or you want to make him compete for a spot, or you want to get a guy that you're going to groom for a year and then make that decision at this time next offseason, because, hey, we're talking round 3. You're not going to draft a starting left tackle in the 3rd round, but you can draft someone that can compete for a spot next year.
All right. Meanwhile, they made the moves, really smart move to trade for Elijah Moore because, look, the Jets painted a good picture after he came out to the media and was unhappy while they were winning. And you could just tell, you just kind of knew in the back of your mind, knowing how they like to build culture there, that Joe Douglas was just painting a happy face. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, they traded him now? I thought everything was okay. Yeah, well, we're not going back into the regular season with that potential problem again. So they wound up trading him, but it was important because it got the extra 2nd-round pick that's going to help them to trade Aaron Rodgers for the move for Rodgers. And for Cleveland, they got a guy with a lot of talent that could now be one of the premier weapons for Deshaun Watson. So that was nice. Now you have not only does that work, but you sign Marquise Goodwin. He still has some speed in him, and you hope David Bell continues to develop. So now your wide receiver group, which didn't look all that good for the past couple of years, is starting to take shape nicely. And I would feel really good about where they are right now at wide receiver.
Yeah, they're in a. You look at who is beyond their first 2 rows of receivers on the R-Lads depth chart. There's going to be guys getting cut after training camp that are going to be on NFL rosters next year. You watch. I mean, Jakeem Grant probably brings that special teams value, but
well, I don't think. Jakeem Grant ain't going anywhere. I doubt it. He'll have to be. I mean, that's the thing, though. It is very rare that you keep 7 receivers. And Grant being more of only a special teams guy, but injuries occur, so you never know.
Michael Woods, a lot of people liked him coming out last year, didn't really see the field. Jalen Darden basically lost his job because he fumbled a little bit as a returner in Tampa Bay. Marquez Stevenson is a guy that a lot of people liked. Demetric Felton is a guy that Cleveland likes. I mean, they're going to be losing guys that they don't want to lose after training camp.
Do you think that if Schwartz doesn't have a good camp, he's the odd man out, and then that's what keeps Grant there?
That was the name I was looking at. If Grant has to stay and they don't want to keep 7, I think Schwartz is the guy to go.
All right, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I think we're in agreement about Willis. And look, if you can't become a good offensive lineman under Callahan as your teacher,
see you later.
Yeah, other teams that would be interested in picking you up, they're going to be thinking about that.
Yes, they are.
Callahan couldn't get this guy to. I don't know if I can.